first thing is first. Obviously, a brush can do this. Same way like a stick can, right? But the biggest difference between a brush and a stick is you can also brush with it. Okay, so that's one motion, that's the brushing motion. But then you can also go the other way. You can also go in a circle. You can also go slower and faster. So if I go slow, and then fast. Slow, fast. So you're going to realize all of these things and how they combine to create the different sounds that you hear out of brushes. So what was that? That was just circles. I was doing same circles, and then on 2 and 4 I would speed up the motion. 1, 2, 3, 4 to create an accent. Also, you're gonna mix and match. So you're gonna be sometimes brushing and sometimes tapping. Let's call these taps. Okay, so this is the brush movement, and this is the tap movement. So if you're gonna play a simple swing pattern, you're gonna brush with your left hand and tap with your right hand. Okay, there's a little bit of coordination. That, for example, is much like the thing where you tap your head and rub your belly, right? Because your left hand is doing the brushing and your right hand is doing completely different motions, which is the taps, right? And this motion is something that you never do as a drummer otherwise. So this is going to be very difficult for you. So what I would suggest is if you're trying to get into jazz music with brushes, which, I mean, I guess you are, because brushes are, they come from jazz music, right? It's a tool of jazz drummers. What I would suggest is you start with just learning how to do circles first, okay? So basically, when people teach brushes also, they tell you to think of the drum as a clock face. So if I tell you, like, start at 12 o'clock, 12 is here, right? 3 is here, 6 is here, 9 is here. So if I tell you start at 12, you would like go up here. If I tell you start at 6, down here. Start at 3 here, start at 9 here, okay? So I'm gonna say, let's, for now, put your right hand above your left hand and just make circles like this. So basically what ends up happening is my right hand stays in this area, 12 and 3 area, starting at 12, making a little circle, right? My left hand stays in the 9 and 6 area, making a little circle. Okay, let's do that together. So let's say you start like here for comfort. And you're gonna hear that I'm speeding up a little bit when I'm going up, right? So basically, I want both. I'm gonna start at like the center essentially with my right hand, and at 6 with my left hand. And these two hands are gonna be doing the opposite motion. It's like kind of like swimming or something, you know? And I'm just using the tips of the brushes. Okay, that's the other thing that I forgot to mention. You're gonna experience a difference in sound not only from the different techniques you're using, so tap versus brush, and then we talked about speed as well, that you get that accent sound. You're also going to experience a difference in the sound based on how hard you're pressing. So if I'm just using the tip of the brush, I'm going to get that softer sound. And notice that if I'm angled too much, then I'm actually scratching the drum head with these brush tips. Okay? You hear that? That sound? That means you're at too much of an angle. So just relax a little bit, smaller angle. You want to get a nice even tone in this exercise. And first try to get a sound that's not even like a wave on the beach, right? Try to get an even tone, because waves, they have the coming in and coming out, right? Or like the tied in, tied out, whatever that's called. But just make it even. As much as you can, avoid the tied sound first. Just using very light pressure on the tips of the brushes. If you place the whole brush head like this with a lot of pressure on the drum head, you're going to get a very different tone. See how all of a sudden you get like very clear change in direction sound? So watch this. When I'm doing it with my left hand, let's pretend we're going to play the swing pattern. I'm going to get the directional change in tone. I don't know if I want that when I'm playing a swing pattern, because it's going to sound like this. Personally, I don't really like that. People do that. A lot of people do that. But the problem when you do that is the tempo or the groove becomes a little muddy. Like my quarter notes are not well defined, and I want my quarter notes to be very clean. So that's why I opt to have this instead of this, so that I get a more smooth, even pad of sound under my taps. As much as possible, you want to practice having that groove and that clarity without adding the bass drum or the hi-hat, because obviously if I add the feathering in the bass drum and 2 and 4 in the hi-hat, yeah, it's going to be clear. But still, for like optimal clarity and really nice sound and precision and control, I think it's better to just use a clearer sound by using just the tips of the brushes and not all of the pressure, you know. So that's the biggest thing. You can also practice this pattern, so it's like an 8 pattern. So I don't actually know what I'm doing, but you're just basically alternating like this. I guess it's more like a yin-yang type situation. And again, it's like a nice continuous flow. A lot of this is almost like a meditation. And you can hear the clarity in the sound, right? That's another really good one to practice. Once you get a hang of, in both hands, smooth ability to create that pad, the texture in both hands, either by just doing that, which I love for ballads. I love that. It's so simple and it's just very effective. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just give it a little bit of an accent on 2 and 4. I think that's very simple, clear, and very effective. Because you shouldn't get in the way. You know, there's like some things that you just don't want to get in the way of, and this is a really great pattern for that. After you're done practicing and getting very clean those texture pads in both hands, whichever you choose, I recommend doing both, the yin-yang and the 2 circles. I want you to practice taps, and I want you to practice taps again. You basically are gonna, it's very different from a stick because you're not gonna have rebound. So just start about an inch away and tap. The thing I'm doing is I'm keeping the brush touching the inside of my palm the whole time. I don't want any flopping going on because I want the control, okay? So it's just a controlled tap. And you're gonna just practice this really slow, one at a time. Tap, tap. The things you want to remember are the tips of the brushes need to meet the head at the same time so that you don't get like a floppy sound. Like, see how angled that is? You're gonna get a weird floppy sound, not a tight sound. But if it's in line with the head, the angle, and they all contact at the same time, like a stick, it should sound kind of like a stick. Like that. And obviously left hand, you gotta practice this. Left hand is gonna be tough, really tough. So practice that. It's another thing you can do forever. The other things that you need to be aware of are these sounds. Like if you play closer to the edge and you kind of do like a rim shot with brushes, you get the brush rim shot sound. It's a cool effect, or for soloing, whatever you need. It's just another way to build control with the brushes. I would say, yeah, the thing you're going to struggle with the most is the timing of your left hand when you're doing the swing pattern. So just organize yourself a little bit. Like, okay, so I start here, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. So you see how it's organized? I'm not very obvious. The pad is smooth, so you're not going to hear the quarter notes in the pad, but you're going to observe the quarter notes with your motion. You're going to mark so that you're organized, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. notice how you don't have to use the whole drum. Like that's not a problem. I use like this much, basically, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Also, you're gonna learn pretty quickly that these brushes, they will get stuck in this area. I don't want to show you because it ruins your brushes, but you're gonna do it a few times. So maybe start with like a crappy set of brushes, and then eventually you're gonna learn how to avoid the border. So look at the angle of my wrist also. So you don't want to be at a random angle. A, to avoid ruining your brushes, and B, to just have a healthy wrist angle. 1, 2, 3, 4. See how actually, not like sticks, you know when we say like use your wrist? In this case, I'm actually keeping my wrist pretty stable and I'm moving my arm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Oh, did you see that? It caught a little bit in the edge. So sometimes this will go in here, and then when you try to move this way, it'll just like bend it out of shape. And then you're screwed because like you see, even the brushes here are not even in a straight line. So when you start getting flailing pieces of brush, it's going to affect the sound. It's going to end up scratching the head in a weird place, and it's going to deter from your smoothness that you can achieve. So really make sure to take care of your brushes because that's definitely something that will affect the sound. Obviously the state of the drum head also will affect the sound. If you have a brand new head, it's going to be crazy loud because there's just like it's going to be too textured to use brushes on. So you can maybe like wipe it down with something, try to get it less textured, or just take your brushes and just like actually just kind of rub off this top layer a little bit, because the first sound you're going to get on a new head is going to be gross and too loud, and you're not going to like it and you're not going to be able to control it. And the opposite is true. Like if you don't have, obviously you can't play brushes on a clear head either. And then if you have a really old coated head, you won't be able to get a proper sound. So the status of your head really matters to play brushes. Yeah, I mean, I think that was a pretty thorough start, you know? So just practice a little bit. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm open to ideas. Let me know what you want to learn, and I'll do it. I'll teach you. See you.